I don't remember that it somehow happened. I felt like during the fight, every time he was pushing or stepping back, and sometimes I was against it, I was stopping.
Dmitry Bivol has declared that his upcoming rematch with Artur Beterbiev is not just about the world titles, but about seeking revenge for the closely contested loss in their first fight.
I always expect from my opponents that they want to make hurt as much as they can. Nothing new.
Yeah. What's your game plan? As much as you won't give too much away, what are you going to do to try and nullify Artur this time round?
Just need to be better. I cannot tell you what I'm gonna do exactly.
Bivol has made it clear that his upcoming rematch with Artur Beterbiev on February 22nd in Saudi Arabia is not just about the world titles. Bivol, who fought Beterbiev last October in a closely contested match, has emphasized that his main focus this time is revenge. In that first fight, many, including Bivol's team, felt he had done enough to win, but the judges awarded the victory to Beterbiev by narrow margins. Reflecting on that loss, Bivol admitted that while he once solely sought the belts, his perspective has shifted. This time, he is not only chasing the titles, he is determined to avenge the outcome of their first encounter.
Were you upset? Were you sad? Angry?
Not too much. I didn't like it, of course, but then I just switched off that feelings.
Just like that. The coldest man in boxing.
Bivol's manager Vadim Kornilov also believed his fighter had done enough to win the first fight. While acknowledging Beterbiev's strong performance, Kornilov pointed out that one judge's decision seemed to be completely off, which added to the frustration. He said it was a very close fight and nothing to take away from Artur Beterbiev. He did a really good job. There's no doubt the fight was close. I was more upset about one of the decisions. One of the judges seemed to be completely off, and that was more upsetting. However, Kornilov believes that the past is behind them, and now Bivol has another opportunity to prove he is the best light heavyweight in the world. It is an opportunity for Bivol to take the spotlight and claim the titles in his own right. He further added, it doesn't matter what the judges did on October 12th, because now is the opportunity for every boxer to make a point and prove that they're the undisputed champion in the light heavyweight division. On the other hand, Artur Beterbiev remains confident heading into the rematch. The four-belt champion is focused on maintaining his undisputed status and keeping his titles. Beterbiev was unfazed by Bivol's desire for revenge, stating that he would be ready to face whatever comes his way. He mentioned that if Bivol wants revenge, it is not a problem for him. For Beterbiev, the main goal is to improve upon his performance from the first fight and to be better in every aspect. As the rematch draws closer, boxing experts are offering their insights on how the fight might unfold. Canelo Alvarez recently shared his thoughts on the highly anticipated rematch between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, calling it a great fight. He acknowledged both fighters' skill levels, emphasizing that it would be an exciting matchup once again. When asked about the possibility of fighting in the light heavyweight division again, Canelo didn't dismiss the idea. While he didn't provide a definitive answer, he expressed that he remained open to taking on new challenges at that weight class in the future.
And just one more from me, Beterbiev Bivol, the rematch. What a great fight that is in Saudi. How do you see that playing out, Saudi?
It's gonna be a really good fight again. Both are great fighters and
Do you see yourself fighting a light heavyweight again?
maybe.
David Benavidez also weighed in on the previous encounter between Bivol and Beterbiev, stating that he believed Bivol had won the fight. Although it was a close contest, Benavidez felt that Bivol controlled most of the rounds with his combination punching. Looking ahead to the rematch, Benavidez expressed confidence that Bivol could come out victorious again. He acknowledged, however, that both fighters are top tier and might make adjustments for the second fight. While he wasn't sure if it would play out the same way, he believed that if the fight unfolded similarly, Bivol would prevail once more.
I thought Bivol won that fight, to be honest with you. It was a close fight. It could have went. Couldn't have went either way. I feel like Bivol won most of the rounds. He controlled most of the rounds, and his combination punching was better.
Do you think he wins the rematch?
I think he does.
Yeah. Is it different, or do you think it's more?
I mean, I don't know, because both those fighters are both high caliber fighters, so they can make adjustments. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be the same fight or not. But if it's the same fight, I feel like Bivol wins.
The father of David Benavidez, Jose Benavidez Sr, praised Beterbiev for his destructive power, calling him a monster in the ring. However, he also gave credit to Bivol for his impressive win over Canelo Alvarez, which he felt didn't receive enough recognition. Benavidez Sr expressed surprise at Bivol's performance against Beterbiev, admitting he initially thought Bivol would be knocked out. He ultimately expressed admiration for both fighters, noting that regardless of the outcome, they were both elite champions. He also hinted that it would be an honor for his son to face either of them in the future.
He's a monster. He's a monster. But like I said, you know, Bivol has been changing my mind since I saw him beat Canelo. Nobody really gave him that credit. Nobody even remembers that he beat Canelo. He never got the recognition, you know. But then he fought Beterbiev, and I thought he was gonna get knocked out, to be honest with you, you know. And I was surprised, you know, like what, you know. And so now, you know, I'm a big fan of both. Like I said, you know, it don't matter who wins or who loses. At the end of the day, these two are great fighters, you know, and it will be an honor to one day face one of these two big monsters.
Reflecting on the first fight, Sergey Kovalev stated that he believed Bivol had won, scoring it 7 rounds to 5 in Bivol's favor. Kovalev suggested that Bivol would be more confident going into the rematch and predicted that Bivol would come out victorious this time around. Kovalev also hinted that the rematch could set up a potential trilogy between the two fighters, suggesting that a third fight might be in the future. He said, "I think the last fight, Bivol had 7 rounds against 5 for Beterbiev. He will be more confident for the rematch. He'll get the victory, and then there will be a third fight trilogy coming up." Frank Warren talked up the rematch between Bivol and Beterbiev, describing it as a showdown between the two best light heavyweights in the world. He praised their previous fight, highlighting the high level of skill both men displayed. Warren expressed great excitement for the rematch, stating that fans could expect another thrilling battle between the two, with the outcome potentially having a significant impact on the division.
What would your pick out be? Obviously the big one at Beterbiev and Bivol, the rematch.
Well, it's a great fight. The best two light heavyweights in the world. Last time round, it was an excellent fight. They displayed all their skills. It's a rematch. That's going to be a great fight.
Clifton Mitchell initially thought Bivol had won the first fight when watching it live. However, after reviewing it on television, he said he could understand why Beterbiev was awarded the victory. Mitchell explained that while Bivol did well in many aspects, he seemed uncomfortable in the ring, and many of his punches were blocked by Beterbiev. Despite this, Mitchell was confident in Beterbiev's abilities and predicted a win for him in future matchups, particularly if the rematch played out similarly.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go. Me and Scott Walsh are going to go.
Well, finally, what's your prediction on that?
Beterbiev. When I was there, I thought Bivol won. When I was there watching the fight, I thought he won. I watched it on telly and I can see why they gave it to Beterbiev. Yeah. I can see why they gave it him. But there, because Bivol did it, but he did it like very uncomfortably. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. And there, I think he was catching a lot on his hands, his gloves as well. So, yeah, we'll do that after. I'm definitely going back with Beterbiev.
Bob Santos also expressed his excitement for the rematch, expecting another closely contested battle between the two Russian fighters. He believed that the rematch would likely play out similarly to the first encounter. He said, "I think it's going to be very similar to the first fight, although, again, this is boxing and anybody could get hit with something that turns the fight around." However, Santos acknowledged the unpredictable nature of boxing, noting that a single punch could change the course of the fight. He further added, "So unless one of them can land a big shot on the other one to really kind of get them in trouble or wane during the fight, I think it'll be much more as it went the first time, and then it's just gonna come down to what the judges like." Gareth A. Davies shared his thoughts on the upcoming rematch, predicting that Bivol would have an advantage in terms of speed and intelligence. Although he mentioned that Roy Jones Jr. supported Beterbiev during his UK tour, Davies believed Bivol's sharper boxing would lead him to victory. He even speculated that the fight could stretch into an extended bout, possibly going into the later rounds in 2025, as both fighters would need to be at their best to secure a win.
Even though Roy Jones Jr. is telling Artur Beterbiev on his tour of the UK at the moment, you've got to go in there and smash him this time. I think Bivol will be faster, smarter this time, and they'll end up going into round 25 in another 6 months' time, maybe in September, October 2025.
Chris Algieri expressed his enthusiasm for the entire fight card, acknowledging the importance of the main event between Bivol and Beterbiev. While he noted that it might not be as explosive as their first encounter, he stressed that it held significant meaning for both the light heavyweight division and the overall pound-for-pound rankings. Algieri emphasized the magnitude of the fight, calling it a major moment in the sport.
You got the main event, which, listen, compared to the last fight, obviously what we saw in the first fight, it's not going to be a gangbusters type fight, but it's a very important fight for the weight class, for the divisions, for the pound-for-pound rankings. So the level of that main event is humongous. But then you got a couple of heavyweight bangers on there that can really steal the show in terms of being, action-packed.
Adeola Depot shared his excitement about the fight, saying that he had been jumping with joy since the fight card was announced. He mentioned that although boxing fans have seen many great cards, this one stood out as the best he had ever witnessed.
I'm excited, honestly. I've been jumping around like a little kid.
Why?
Because this fight card got announced, and look, I know you guys like your boxing, but this is by far the greatest fight card I've ever seen in my life. Like, by far. Like,
really?
nothing comes close to it.
They know what they're doing out there, don't they?
In the 80s, nothing.
Todd DuBoef highlighted that Artur Beterbiev had never needed to rely on a decision in any of his previous fights, always aiming for a knockout. He praised Beterbiev's strong ring presence and constant pressure, which he felt led to a dominant performance in their last encounter. DuBoef pointed out Bivol's body language in the later rounds, which showed signs of being overwhelmed by the relentless pressure. He said, "He's never had a decision other than the last fight. I think he goes for it every time. I felt that his ring generalship and domination, putting the pressure and making the fight happen, was a resounding win for him, and I felt that you could see the body language of Bivol late in the fight as that pressure kept coming and coming." Todd questioned whether Beterbiev could start applying that pressure from the very beginning in future fights. DuBoef believed that had the fight lasted 2 more rounds, Bivol might not have made it out of the ring. He further said, "The question is, does Artur start that earlier? Can he start that in round 1? I think it started maybe more in 3 or 4, where he really started to come on, but start that in round 1. I think if that fight went 2 more rounds, I don't think Bivol was getting out of the ring. Maybe he learned from that, and we'll see." Lonnie B predicted a different outcome for the rematch, believing that Beterbiev would stop Bivol this time. He explained that Beterbiev was coming off surgery in their previous fight, which affected his performance. This time, Lonnie B suggested that Beterbiev would start working the body early on, which could lead to a stoppage in the later rounds, around the 9th or 10th.
Moving like Soviet pendulum style, but he's clearly a boxer. I mean, he's a great amateur style, right?
Right.
Well, then you obviously got Artur in the rematch, right? By stop.
Yeah, I got Artur.
Right?
And no excuses, but I think Artur came and fought too fast off that surgery. I think this fight he gonna stop. I think this fight he go to the body more. He gonna stop Bivol.
You think it'll be early, or you think it's gonna be a long, late round fight that Bivol?
I think like probably 9 or 10. If Artur starts to the body in the first round, I think he'll get him out of there about 9 or 10.
Okay.
Teddy Atlas shared his thoughts on the first fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, acknowledging that the contest was close and that he understood why some might feel conflicted about the outcome. However, Atlas revealed that he had scored the fight for Beterbiev by just 1 round. He emphasized that despite the closeness, he believed Beterbiev had edged out the victory. Atlas expressed that the subjective nature of scoring such a tight fight made it understandable for people to have different opinions, but in his view, Beterbiev had done enough to win in the end. He said, "Close fight, a lot of close rounds. I can see why people are conflicted. You know what? I'm not gonna judge anyone. I judged the fight, but I'm not gonna judge anyone because I get it's subjective in certain ways. There's 2 ways to look at it. 2 fighters, close fight, a lot of close rounds." Reflecting on the first fight, Carl Froch shared that only true boxing fans could fully appreciate what happened between the 2 fighters. He had Bivol ahead on his scorecard, and his prediction for the rematch was filled with anticipation.
But for the purist and the people that understand boxing, that realised what they were watching, would have been on the edge of the seat, mesmerised by the skill level and the quality of both operators. Now, Bivol didn't get the decision. I thought he'd won when I watched it on the night. Beterbiev obviously won. He's unbeaten. Most of his fights have come by knockout. He went the distance with Bivol for the first time.
Froch advised Bivol to focus on finishing strong in the final rounds, as this was where Beterbiev had an edge in their first meeting, and judges tend to favor the fighter who finishes strong.
I think Bivol maybe needs to look a bit more interested. If if that's fair, towards the end of the fight, maybe around 10, 11 and 12, I think he needs to get more shots off because he finished slow. Beterbiev put it on him a little bit more. It looked like he wanted to be in there a bit more. It looked like he was trying to win and trying to get that victory, and the judges do like that. When the judges see somebody going forward, trying to finish the job or trying to make the fight happen, they tend to give them the rounds.
Shakur Stevenson also shared his perspective on the first fight between Bivol and Beterbiev. Stevenson believed Bivol should have won the fight, and he predicted that Bivol would secure the victory in the rematch as long as he stayed focused throughout the entire bout. Stevenson explained that Bivol had let his foot off the gas in the last 2 rounds of the first fight, which allowed Beterbiev to capitalize. He said, "I thought Bivol won, and I think he may win again. Honestly, he needs to stop letting his foot off the gas. I think in the last 2 rounds, he let his foot off the gas. I think if he stays focused throughout the fight, he wins." While acknowledging the caliber of all the fighters on the card, Hamza Shiraz predicted that Bivol would win the main event by unanimous decision. He praised Bivol's skills and expressed gratitude for being part of such a high-profile event.
I think Beterbiev is going to win via unanimous decision. But then again, listen, Bivol's a top fighter, so it's a great. All the fights are great fights, man. So it's just a massive honour to be a part of it. So a massive thank you to His Excellency for giving the opportunity.
As the rematch draws closer, excitement is building among boxing fans and analysts alike. Everyone is eager to see which fighter will come out on top in what is shaping up to be another thrilling chapter in the light heavyweight division. So what are your thoughts about this situation? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.